One night, a man fell asleep in the barn. His cow curled up at his feet, her heavy, warm breath rising in soft plumes through the cold, hay-scented air. The barn was quiet save for the occasional rustle of a swallow in the rafters and the deep, rhythmic sound of bovine contentment. She was a good cow, or so he had always believed. Solid. Predictable. The kind of animal that made you feel like a real stockman simply by standing next to her. 3 hours later, he woke with a start, the stiff straw scratching against his neck where he had slumped against a hay bale. The lantern had burned low, casting long, distorted shadows across the weathered boards. He found the cow pressed flat against the far wall. Her great bulk was swallowed by the shadows, her spine rigid with a tension he had never noticed before. Those wide, liquid eyes were staring at him unblinking through the darkness, reflecting the dying ember of the lantern light like two polished orbs of amber. In that half-asleep haze, he thought nothing of it, just a restless animal shifting in the night, perhaps bothered by a mouse or a dream of greener pastures, he assumed. He grunted, shifted his weight, and closed his eyes again. 6 weeks later, his cow hooked him. There was no warning. No low bellow rumbling from her chest. No stamping of hooves in the dirt. Just the brutal, shocking impact of horns catching him under the ribs and the sudden, terrifying realization of 1,000 pounds of muscle and bone turned against him in a heartbeat. The pain was white-hot and immediate, but the shock was worse. How could an animal he fed every day, an animal he named, turn on him like a wild thing? When the livestock behaviorist arrived, she didn't look at the blood first. She looked at the barn. She looked at the layout of the stalls. She looked at the way the light fell across the feed trough. Then she looked at the deep gash on his arm and back toward the quiet, seemingly innocent barn. Go, she said softly, her voice heavy with the certainty of someone who has read this story 1,000 times before in the language of hooves and hides. There were plenty of warnings. You just weren't looking for them. That is the crux of it, isn't it? We live with these massive creatures, we depend on them, we care for them, but we often fail to listen to them. Keep watching, because after this video, you will never miss those warnings again. You will learn to see the storm before the lightning strikes. If you haven't subscribed, click that button now, because what you are about to learn could completely transform the relationship between you and your cow, or perhaps even save your life. It might save you from a hospital visit, or worse, it might save the cow from a one-way trip to the sale barn because of a behavior problem that was actually a communication failure. Today, we are discussing 14 subtle behaviors that may indicate your cow is deeply uncomfortable around you or simply doesn't trust you. Some of these will surprise you. They will challenge the way you see that gentle giant chewing cud by the gate. At least one will make you stop in your tracks and think about your own cow with a new, perhaps uncomfortable, clarity. Let's begin. Sign 14. They freeze when you reach for them. When a cow trusts you completely, reaching toward them triggers a forward lean, a gentle, curious stretch of the muzzle toward your hand. It is an invitation, an investigation. They want to smell your skin, to feel the warmth of your palm, to engage. But an insecure cow does the exact opposite. Their body stiffens to stone. They hold their breath, their ribs barely moving beneath that thick hide. In the split second before your fingers make contact with that fuzzy forehead or that strong neck, they brace as if bracing for a blow. It's called the freeze response. Animal behaviorists classify this as one of the clearest pre-conflict signals in bovine body language. It is not submission, it is suspended animation. It means the cow is calculating, in that ancient, instinctual part of its brain, whether what comes next is going to hurt. Is this the hand that feeds, or the hand that slaps? Is this the touch that soothes, or the rope that restrains? If your cow does this to you regularly, even if they've never hooked anyone, even if they eventually allow the touch after that terrible second of stillness, that freeze is a sign etched in granite. It is a red flag flapping in a wind you refuse to feel. Do not ignore it. Reevaluate your approach. Lower your energy. Stop grabbing and start asking. Sign 13. They won't come when you call, but they'll go to someone else. Here's a question worth pondering in the quiet moments of evening chores, when the sun is low and the cows are just shapes in the mist. What happens when you call your cow's name across the pasture? Does she lift her head? Do her ears swivel? Or does she keep grazing as if you are just noise in the wind? If the honest answer is sometimes nothing, yet that same cow trots across the entire field with eager, swinging steps for a neighbor, a child, or even the vet, The issue isn't recall training. The issue is the bedrock of the relationship. Animal cognition studies consistently show that cattle choose proximity based on *** perceived safety ***. They are prey animals, hardwired for survival. They gravitate to where they feel comfortable, where the air doesn't taste of tension, cortisol, or past mistakes. They remember the rough hand, the impatient shout, the hurried herding. If that place of comfort is not with you, there is a reason written in the cow's memory, a ledger of interactions that doesn't balance in your favor. And that reason deserves patient understanding before you reach for a longer lead rope or a harsher word. The cow isn't being stubborn, she's being smart. Eventually allow the touch after that terrible second of stillness. That freeze is a sign etched in granite. It is a red flag flapping in a wind you refuse to feel. Do not ignore it. Reevaluate your approach. Lower your energy. Stop grabbing and start asking. *** sign 13. They won't come when you call, but they'll go to someone else ***. Here's a question worth pondering in the quiet moments of evening chores, when the sun is low and the cows are just shapes in the mist. What happens when you call your cow's name across the pasture? Does she lift her head? Do her ears swivel? Or does she keep grazing as if you were just noise in the wind? If the honest answer is sometimes nothing, yet that same cow trots across the entire field with eager, swinging steps for a neighbor, a child, or even the vet, the issue isn't recall training. The issue is the bedrock of the relationship. Animal cognition studies consistently show that cattle choose proximity based on *** perceived safety ***. They are prey animals, hardwired for survival. They gravitate to where they feel comfortable, where the air doesn't taste of tension, cortisol, or past mistakes. They remember the rough hand, the impatient shout, the hurried herding. If that place of comfort is not with you, there is a reason written in the cow's memory, a ledger of interactions that doesn't balance in your favor. And that reason deserves patient understanding before you reach for a longer lead rope or a harsher word. The cow isn't being stubborn, she's being smart. *** sign 12. They don't make eye contact with you ***. This goes deeper than most people realize, touching on the very neuroscience of domestication. Over thousands of years of coexistence, scientists believe one of the key evolutionary shifts was the development in cattle to engage in soft, voluntary eye contact with humans. When a cow voluntarily gazes at you, not staring you down as a threat, but looking at your face with soft eyes and relaxed ears, their brain releases oxytocin. That's the same hormone responsible for mother-infant bonding in humans, the love hormone. Neurologically speaking, it is an act of profound trust, a silent offering of connection across the species barrier. So, when a cow consistently looks away from you, breaks eye contact quickly, or turns their broad head aside the moment you glance at them, they're not being coy or aloof. They are politely, cautiously, and very clearly telling you they are not comfortable enough for that vulnerable connection yet. They are protecting themselves from a gaze they don't yet recognize as safe. To them, your stare might feel like the stare of a predator calculating distance. Soften your eyes. Blink slowly. Let them see you as a friend, not a threat. *** sign 11. They sleep or rest as far from you as possible ***. The ancestors of wild cattle, the great aurochs of old, slept pressed against the warm, vigilant bodies of their herd. Because in the wild, sleep equals vulnerability, a complete suspension of defense, a temporary blindness to the wolves in the tall grass. You only make yourself that. Defenseless next to someone you trust with your very life. Your cow carries this same primal instinct deep in its bones, coded in DNA that hasn't changed much in 10,000 years. If they choose to rest in the other stall, against the far fence line, or noticeably shift their position to increase the distance every time you settle in nearby with your coffee and your phone, they are communicating with their entire body. * You are not in my circle of safety. *** They are telling you that your presence is not a comfort, but a low-grade disturbance. That's a hard truth to swallow for anyone who prides themselves on being a good caretaker, but it is vital information for your safety and the animal's long-term well-being. A cow that cannot rest near you is a cow carrying chronic, invisible stress. ** sign 10. They yawn, lick their nose, or look away every time you approach ***. Most people assume a yawn means a cow is simply sleepy or has a belly full of cud. Sometimes it does. But context is everything in animal behavior. In the specific context of your approach, especially when **you** are the one walking toward them with purpose, yawning, repetitive nose licking, and exaggerated head turning are what handlers call appeasement signals. These are displacement behaviors, actions cattle use to diffuse internal tension and signal to others that they are not a threat. Think of it like a nervous laugh in a tense room, or a person fidgeting with their keys during a difficult conversation. These are unmistakable stress responses. The cow is essentially trying to make itself appear smaller and less threatening to avoid a potential conflict. They are saying, "I see you. I mean no harm. Please don't harm me." If your cow performs these actions when you walk toward it, they are not relaxed around you. They are not happy to see you. They are managing you, hoping you'll just pass by without incident. They are walking on eggshells made of hooves. Sign 9. Their tail swishes to the left when they see you. You might have to watch closely for this one, but it's a secret worth knowing, backed by fascinating research. Studies suggest that the direction of a cow's tail swish has neurological significance tied to the brain's hemispheres. Because of the way nerves cross over in the body, the left brain controls the right side of the body and is generally associated with approach and positive feelings, while the right brain controls the left side, associated with withdrawal and negative feelings. A right-sided swish is associated with positive emotions, relaxation, contented cud chewing, socializing with favored herd mates. A left-sided swish activates the brain's stress responses and correlates with negative or uncertain emotional states. When your cow sees you and that tail drifts consistently to the left, even if the motion is subtle, even if it's ostensibly flicking flies off a flank, the tail does not lie. It indicates a flicker of unease, a whisper of discomfort in the bovine mind. It is a subtle tick that reveals the anxiety beneath the calm surface. Sign 8. They take food from your hand, but refuse touch otherwise. This one fools a lot of well-meaning owners and is perhaps the most common trap in the barnyard. A cow that gently, even delicately, takes grain from your open palm seems relaxed and trusting, right? Look how close she is. Look how soft her muzzle is on my skin. Not necessarily. Food is a powerful, blinding motivator that can override deep-seated fear. It is a biological imperative. Many anxious cows will temporarily overcome profound discomfort to get the feed, driven by hunger and the instinct to survive. They are gritting their teeth, holding their breath, and enduring your proximity for the sake of the calories. And then comes the crucial part, the moment of truth. Watch the space between you immediately after the last bite. They immediately increase distance the second the grain is gone, as if retreating from a line in the sand. The head jerks back. The body pivots. The bubble of personal space inflates back to its anxious diameter. Watch what happens immediately after the last bite. That withdrawal, that return to the edge of the personal bubble, is the honest truth of how they feel about you. The food was a transaction driven by need. The trust was absent. Do not confuse a bribe with a bond.